Hi, welcome everybody to my channel. Please like and subscribe. You can follow me here for all real crime. I usually cover like the real documentaries, a bit of First 48. I'll probably have some more coming up this week. So thank you all for joining me. This is following up from last week's documentary recap with Alan versus Farrow. So I'll just do a little recap and then we can discuss it and see what you guys think. Whoever watched it, who didn't watch it, it's a little bit of a messed up story, really. So the second episode, it kind of starts with a family home video. Mia, this second episode, I think, all in all, is more based on Mia and the Woody Allen and Soon Yi type of, alleged affair and whatever happened. So Mia kind of talks about her family and how, they would have summers together and stuff like that. And she talks a little bit about herself, how she grew up, how she suffered from polio when she was about 7 years old and was in hospital and went through all that because this was like the era where people were having polio, catching polio, and people were actually getting paralyzed and dying and stuff like that. So she kind of, persevered through that as a young child, which give you a little bit of an understanding of who she is as a person. So yeah, it tells you a little bit about her mom and dad, the fact that her mom was a actress and that she was always away from home, and Mia actually herself had loads of brothers and sisters. In altogether, I think her mom had 7 children, so the 7 children would always kind of be, together when mom was away, hence why mom had that many children, because she thought they would, keep each other company. So mum was always away being an actress, always on the road. Her dad, her father was a filmmaker and a director. So they were kind of in the same business, similar to her and Woody, really, because she's an actress on Broadway and he's a filmmaker and director, ironically. So she obviously kind of has, in a way, emulated that lifestyle, hasn't she? Had the 7 kids. She had obviously a couple of adopted children, 4 of her own, 3 adopted. 2 of them Woody ends up adopting, and then obviously Dylan and Moses are the 2 that he adopts, and Soon Yi is the 3rd child. So this is kind of like a little bit, disgusting, really. Let me just be real. This is absolutely disgusting. This episode really goes into more into how sneaky this man was and how he would kind of go about her back and want to be with the kids and stuff like that. She talks a little bit about her career and how she met Frank Sinatra, and had a big hit about her acting career a little bit, but then you see snippets of things. The reasons why she had the kids from Vietnam is because the Vietnam War was going on, and she then decided, these kids need somebody to look after, hence why she's got 3 kids from Vietnam, adopted children. So that was kind of her part of her saying, this is me doing my part, in society. So that was the reason why she had all the kids. They had the 3 kids from Vietnam. She explains a little bit that the kids had like health issues, they suffered from pneumonia and different things. So when she actually got the kids as babies, she ended up, basically bringing them back to health, so they were in a better state. And as they improved, they were not really they were brilliant children. They weren't really real issues they were having after that, so clearly they just needed tender love and care. And then she explains that after she adopts the child, Soon Yi is the latest addition, right? So when Soon Yi comes into the family, and Soon Yi is a little bit older because she adopted most of the kids as babies, but Soon Yi was a little bit older, so she wasn't as open to kind of, interact with everybody, and was a little bit more standoffish, like I said in the previous episode. But you see a little bit more, we understand why she was always like that, because obviously it comes out that she's sleeping with her stepdad, allegedly. So she just, from the awkwardness and everything else, she ends up being the one that builds this relationship with him. She was never that close with Woody, but Mia would encourage it and say, you know, spend time with her, and if she warms up to him and stuff. And she never really warmed up to anybody. So when Woody and her would spend too much time together, nobody really knew. You know, it's a little bit of a mixed up documentary because it jumps from different eras, you know, it jumps from one bit to the other. So as I'm talking, I hope you don't get too confused, because I'm just trying to pick up the little things that kind of stood out to me that made the story. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, by this time, you hear a little bit, it jumps back to when she met the father of her first 4 children, Andrei Previn, I think his name is. And when she meets him, they actually have the 4 kids, and then, you know, they soon break up. After they break up, it then jumps to how she met Woody. I covered that a little bit on the last episode. She met him going to Hollywood parties and stuff like that. And then, you know, when Woody makes these movies, another thing they really like go into with this episode is how Woody always had a way of writing scripts and including, always making the characters be a older man with a younger girl, and he would write the script and say a younger girl, and then he would change it to a much younger girl. He would do, you know, 17, but then he would change it to 18. So it would always be a just gone legal child, basically, in his movies. And the man in the movies would always be the older guy dating a young woman and kind of trying to persuade people through his movies, actually. You know, this is sick. When you really listen, it explains how all his movies, for example, Annie Hall was one of his big movies that he made in 1978. Again, it's all based on a young girl that lives with Woody, and they are in a relationship, and they're like in a marital bed. It just seems like he's trying to make it come across in all of his movies that having a relationship with an older man and a younger girl is something normal and shouldn't be looked at as, you know, what's going on over there. He really wanted to normalize this for people. So as he's carrying on making these movies and everybody's praising his name, we just have to remember this man was actually grooming the nation in a way. I mean, if I can call it that, allegedly, you know, kind of like making us think that, okay, this is cool. And in his real life, obviously in the background, he was having an alleged relationship. He was having a relationship with his stepdaughter. You know, it's not even alleged anymore. They're together now. You know, they've been together for years. So this had been happening. Now, there's a girl that is actually had been in the background for years. She's been spoken about. Her name is Christina Engelhardt. Now, she's the young girl that apparently Woody Allen allegedly had dated while she was in high school. So she's a young 17, 18-year-old girl, and she's actually in the documentary and speaks about the fact of how she met him. And she says she was 16 when she actually met him, and they developed an intimate relationship as she was turning 17. He obviously denies this, but there's a movie that is made called Manhattan that she believes is based on their relationship. This is the movie that we see in the documentary that's, you know, based on the older man having the relationship with the young college student. So she speaks a little bit about that and how, you know, traumatizing it was for her because she didn't know who to trust growing up. He really took advantage of this girl and has always denied it. You know, I have to reiterate, this man has never been found guilty. He's always denied any allegations made against him, even though we can see what we can see for ourselves in the documentary. So it kind of carries where Mia finds out that Soon Yi has actually been visiting Woody at his place. His place used to be across the street from her school. So the doorman had told Mia that this girl used to come round. Now, Woody Allen has always denied that he started a relationship with his stepdaughter Soon Yi when she was he's always denied that he started it when she was still in high school. But the doorman and the people that worked for Woody actually confirmed the fact that this girl used to come round his house. Like, actually, at 16, 17, whatever age, she was underage, allegedly she would go to this house. And then the maid went on and explained that she would go and change the sheets after she'd been to see Woody. Now, can we just she would go and change the crusty ash sheets off this man's bed, the maid, knowing he had just slept with his stepdaughter who is underage. And this kept on going for years. But Mia didn't have a clue that she would go see him most days after school, and she would be there all the time. Clearly they were, having sex and whatever else they were doing, and then she decides when, if you guys remember in the last episode, I said that Mia had found these Polaroid pictures. Now it jumps back to that with the Polaroid pictures. When she had found a Polaroid, in that timeline is when they realized that Soon-Yi and Woody Allen were having an inappropriate relationship. But mind you, he had been abusing Dylan in the background. So all of this is overlapping in a way. And then you see snippets of Dylan talking as well, but Mia decides to have not an intervention, but a family meeting when they found out that Soon-Yi and Woody Allen were having an inappropriate relationship, and kind of spoke to all the children, sat them down and explained what was going on. And they told Soon-Yi they loved her, they encouraged very much that she should stay, and they don't blame her for what happened. Obviously, Woody was the adult, so they always try to make Soon-Yi understand that you're the victim here, so stay with the family. We don't blame you. This happened to you, it's not your fault. But Soon-Yi apparently must have broke down and decided not to be part of the family anymore. I mean, at this point, Fletcher, the brother, explains, which is one of her children, Mia's children, he explains that it was awkward for everybody because now Woody Allen went from the stepfather they looked up to, to the predator that they now can't, allow back in the home, in the family home. So the story it's just awful for these kids to know that this man had raised them and then had done this to one of their siblings, adopted or not, that was their sibling. And then knowing they were around him all the time, even though this was going on, it's just crazy. The fact that he's still with his daughter today is mind blowing. You know what I mean? But it then jumps to, there's little, interesting bits when it comes to Dylan and her alleged abuse. She explains that, and this is the main incident, right? This is the main incident that really made it for me with this documentary, with this episode. Dylan explains that Mia explains that her and her friend Casey, which is this lady that's been around for years, she has her own kids as well. They had arranged in the summer, this one summer, to all meet up at this lake house, or they were having like a summer barbecue or, little get together. What had happened was they had the French tutor, their maid, the nanny and the French tutor were there with them. Now, Mia and her friend Casey decided to pop out. Woody was supposed to come and visit that particular day, but they didn't know what time he was coming, because ever since the story came out with Soon-Yi and Woody, obviously they made an agreement that he can't just come to the house. He has to come at particular times and stuff like that. So they pop out to go and do something. Then they come to find out that Woody had turned up when they were out. Now, Woody turns up, obviously, and is with the kids. The rest of the children used to feel so awkward when this man was around. So he came to the house unbeknownst to Mia and Casey, because Casey had 3 children there, and they knew what Woody had done, allegedly. So they didn't really want them mixing up with the children. They would keep it separate. So this particular day, he turns up without everybody knowing. Then this sicko, right, takes this child. Apparently Dylan went missing that day. Everybody was looking for her, the tutor, the nanny, the other kids. They looked all around the house, right, and couldn't find her for over 20 minutes. Now, then it goes to what actually happened in those 20 minutes from Dylan's perspective. She says Daddy came to the house and obviously said to her, come on, let's go and hang out, and took her to a separate room. Now, this is where it gets this is disgusting. I can't even, having a daughter myself, I cannot imagine this ever happening. This man was basically caught by the nanny. The nanny had walked into the room while Dylan, his daughter, was on the sofa, the settee, with her legs open, and he had his face in between her legs. His face, like, and the nanny didn't really know what she was seeing. She thought she was walking in on an adult scene, but then realizes that it was the child, and she was absolutely disgusted and shocked and didn't know what to say. So the day after, Mia finds this out because her friend Casey, that was her nanny. So her nanny had told her after they left. They don't know what's happened. Mia now comes back into the house. We rewind back to the actual day of the incident. They come back from the shopping or whatever they were doing, and Dylan runs up to her. She's got no panty on under her dress, which she finds odd. This is after Woody has left. And then Dylan obviously tells her mom. She asks her, what's going on? What's going on? Because why haven't you got a panty on or whatever? And the daughter explains that, Daddy touched me. So Mia at this point is like, she needs to call the psychologist, because this child had a psychologist by this point, right? Called the psychologist, couldn't get through to the psychologist because the psychologist must have been away. So she decided to get a camera recording a video recorder, and she records Dylan speaking about the incident. And you actually see that little home video in the documentary where she says, where did he touch you and what happened? And she speaks a little bit about what happened, and then says that he actually took her to the attic. Now, they didn't know this. Her dad, after the incident about, it seems like foreplay or, oral sex. Yeah, I don't even want to say this in a child's, it's disgusting, He was actually performing oral sex on his child, allegedly. Took her then upstairs to the attic and, did the full-on thing and molested her, and when Mia finds this out, she tries to film the daughter, obviously making the confession and saying what had happened. But this is the ending of the documentary, by the way. I mean, this was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought the first episode was bad, but this, I mean, I don't know what they're going to tell us in the third, really. Maybe, I think this might be the best one. You know how they always kind of make us more interested in the third, might just be a little bit stale. But I hope the third is better than this, because to actually know to the level this man went to, and then to end up with your stepdaughter, it's just, you hear audios as well of Woody talking about her like, yes, we had a thing going on, but I always wanted her to go on and have boyfriends in school as well. And he thought she would always move on and have boyfriends her own age, but she never. They ended up getting too attached to each other. And he justifies it in some sick, perverted way in this audio that he's recorded for his audio books. I'm sure you can look it up and listen to it, but it is just disgusting. I mean, I hope, I don't know if some of you guys have seen it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched it and, know what's going on. I mean, what would you do in this situation? What would you do? I cannot even imagine having to deal with something like this, and coming home and finding out this man had actually been in, and knowing that he did that to your child. And it is just, I don't know what to say. I am absolutely disgusted with this, and kind of regret hearing, because you can't undo what you heard. So it's a little bit like, these things happen. Like, how careful can we be as mothers? That's a question. How careful can you be nowadays when it comes to your children? This man, when Mia speaks, I've dropped the link, by the way, guys. If you guys want to join me, you're welcome to join and say your piece, but Mia actually says how she cannot, she was like, just, she didn't invite this man to come and have sex with her children. But when you hear her speak, sometimes you do feel a bit like, what did you do about it? And how did you allow this to happen? I find it really difficult not to kind of judge her as a mother. Like, do you go with your instinct? Did you have an instinct that something was going on? You know what I mean? The more we see the little snippets and things, and the things that the brothers have to say and stuff like that, I just find it you know, just I'm gobsmacked basically, and I can talk for days, but I'm just gobsmacked. You're all welcome to join me. There's the link, and let's talk about it and see what you guys think. You know, I don't know if there's any mothers in the chat, but let me know what you think or how you feel about these type of things. You know what I mean? Grooming, you know, somebody who earned your trust and, you know, warmed up to your heart, and you brought them into your home, and then they end up breaking that trust, and in the worst way possible. You know, I mean, besides murdering my child, what else can you do to my child that's worse than, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you might as well just stab me in the heart, you know, as a mom. So I'm just shocked as to how this went on. There was no repercussions. You know, this man carried on and still has a career. People still praise him for his work, even though the people who were reading the script or on this documentary talking about, you could see the signs, the fact that he you know, written about young girls and older men all the time in his movie scripts. It's just disgusting. Now I'm going to call I'm going to add a new caller. Welcome, left lady 381B. That's a mouthful, right?
I know, right?
Welcome.
Hello.
Glad you're joining me. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I'm a mother, and I can't even imagine. I'm like you. I'm so disgusted by this. It's just, it's just crazy.
Let me bring up my girl Leslie as well. Carry on. Don't mean to interrupt.
Hi. Leslie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just fine. I just don't know. I don't understand. I don't know as a mother how you just didn't grab him by his ankles and drag him to the nearest policeman. I mean, it's crazy. You know, it's just disgusting.
She had so much patience with him as well. The fact that she said, did you watch the documentary, by the way?
Yeah, I did, and I was almost done with the second episode, but I saw you were on, and I wanted to jump on.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. I enjoy both of you all. I see you on all the channels that I have now. I'm not a YouTuber by nature, but because of all you guys, I really have started watching all the shows, and it makes for a great time at the end of the day, and you had a hard day. And but I know, Leslie, you're up in the skies, and it's just crazy. I cannot believe there would be no patience in my house. You would have gone directly up under the jail.
Yeah.
I just honestly, like, there's no way that she didn't see something. My question is, do you think that she was more okay with it because it wasn't her biological child?
I mean, I mean,
like, there was already the funniness going on with the other daughter, and then she got Sunyi. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're literally bringing a young girl into an environment that you already know is volatile.
Very unhealthy, right?
Like, why would you do that? Oh, I wanted to help the children.
I mean, it wasn't helping him if you walked him right into that. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, knowing that the way they keep repeating the fact that he always told her he doesn't want anything to do with the kids. You know, that's the crazy part for me. He always told her kids are not for him. But then all of a sudden it was a girl. He was interested. You know, it's like, how do you not know? It is so difficult. I have a 9-year-old, and for this to happen, like I said, you might as well kill me and done, because I could not forgive myself. I could not live with myself to let yourself slip up to that extent. It's not happening. I'd rather just be, I swear, I'd rather be single till she grows up. If this is what the world's come to, I'd rather not, and keep my doors closed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's disgusting.
Absolutely. I mean, as a parent, your first job is to protect yours. You have to protect your children. It's just amazing. And it doesn't matter that he's the famous Woody. That makes it even worse. It's It's just absolutely crazy.
I don't know.
And even like anybody that worked with him, the people that were on that documentary, the people that were referring to, he always wrote the script a certain way. He always did things a certain way. How do you not see this? But then you see the other flip side where Hollywood is like lapping it up. They want this man to make movies because it makes them money. So again, money is always the common denominator. Have you noticed? People will allow, people will turn a blind eye to murder, abuse, the worst crimes for money. This is what I can't understand. This woman was never sharing a home with him. Oh, let me bring up Dee Ali. Thank you.
Good evening,
Hi,
everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi.
You're right. Yeah, I just find it disgusting. Come on, Dee Ali, say your piece.
Well, when I watched it, I've noticed it goes back some decades.
Yes.
And the red flags were there.
Yes.
Now, I'm a mother, some of my people I'm around aren't mothers, but gut instinct is telling you something is not right. You allow this man to come in and groom a child. He groomed this kid. In my opinion, allegedly, he groomed this kid.
Yeah.
And now he's married to this child who he groomed. This child was arriving at his place to have sex with him, in my opinion, in her school uniform.
Yeah.
Where were the adults around watching all of this?
I mean, the adults were the employees who are, again, turning a blind eye. Knowing
what about an anonymous tip?
From
what about
the
an
school
anonymous tip?
Yeah, across the road. She was coming from the school across, and coming to this man's house. For her to say the nanny, the maid, said that she would change the sheets after this child had visited. I couldn't understand. How are you changing sheets and not telling anybody?
What I can't understand with these things is this always comes out 20, 30 years later when we've now got in society damaged adults. Yeah. Now damaged adults hurt people, can hurt people.
Yes.
What will happen if that damaged adult isn't restricted enough or has enough self-restraint? Do they go out and damage a child?
Yeah.
Come on, I'm sorry. This has come out far too late, and Mia needs to take accountability. She needs to take accountability.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see red flags. There's red flags there. I have family members. I see their lifestyle isn't the situation that I would have my child sleeping at their house. It offends them when they want to sleep over, and I say no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Same because you cannot take it back.
Any friends that have I've always been very particular, and this might be a bit too much, but this is how I am. Anybody that I know, and you don't have the stable partner that I've known and that I know how he is with your children, if it's just a boyfriend, my daughter is not coming round. If you've got a male in your house, my daughter's not coming round that I don't know. You know what? If she just is not coming to play with your child, I'd rather you bring her to mine. I'm always the parent who's having the kids over because everybody knows how I am with the kids. And that it's just me and my child in the house. There's no male. I'm not with anybody. People don't come here. So a lot of the time, I end up being the one taking the kids, to be fair, because I don't want her going to people's houses all the time.
But Miss Nabia, this woman, Mia, the employees and everybody that was around, they all need to be prosecuted as well. This guy would not have been able to continue grooming a baby. She was a child. She was a child. She knew nothing about sex. She knew nothing about anything. He groomed her.
Which one are we talking about? Dylan or Soon Yi?
He groomed Soon Yi.
Yes.
He groomed her. He groomed her.
Did you hear me say the incident where he was performing oral sex on the child?
No, because luckily I'm glad I didn't see that, because I would have had nightmares, because I was in and out of my sleep and I sort of came awake and I think I watched most of it this morning. But look, he groomed this girl. This is a fact. The fact is he groomed Sunyi. He groomed her. She was already a damaged child. You don't know. We don't know what really happened to her before Mia Farrow adopted her.
Yeah, that's true.
Because remember, she said about bad mommy and her mom left her. You know, times were hard.
Yes.
Times were really hard in those poor countries. They were really hard. And then, you know, we do hear in history that a lot of the, you know, the ones that could speak English, not just their own culture, were sexually abusing these children.
Yeah.
And parents were selling out their children for money because they were poor.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Mia Farrow and everybody around, and it's very nice that it comes out now, but they have helped damage these children.
Definitely.
And God help their soul. If this is true, there should be a lot of people who are ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, because, you know, did you catch the bit where she said Woody decided to go to therapy? And
that's bullshit.
The bit where she's actually talking to
my language. Excuse my language. That was a load of rubbish. A load of rubbish. She knew that he kissed her, or he didn't. That the time before she thought she found out they were having sex, and she still let him continue to be around vulnerable children. Vulnerable. Yeah. You do not have to be a mother to wake up and realize this man is a predator. He's a predator. You do not have to be a parent. You do not have to have ever birthed a child when you see it as a predator. He's a predator.
I don't know. I feel like all this stuff is coming out now, and it's like, why now? Well, remember, homegirl is in jail right now, and she's about to spill the tea on the short list. And if you think all these people aren't going to be exposed, and maybe this was let's get in front of the gun before it goes on. Yeah. You know, maybe this was, you know, because this was Mia Farrow did this, no?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Hollywood, this has been happening.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It is. I mean, what can we say about it? But it's just, all I can say is, as a mum, you know, of a daughter, even a boy, people need to just be more aware and stop running and looking for relationships that you don't need to be in. You know, the best relationship you need to focus on is probably with you and your children. So really, you know, just work on yourself. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you need a man around in order for you to be happy. I think that's where the dangers lie. Women who feel like they need a companion that's not serving them, but then in the background, he's actually there grooming your children. But you think, he's sweeping me off my feet. It happens all the time.
It's not just men. It's not just men, Miss Nabia. It's not just men. It's not just men. And that's the classic mistake.
100%.
Society.
It's women
we as
too.
Society, we just automatically think it's men, and it's not.
Yes.
The fact is, with Mia Farrow knew there were signs. This little girl, like, I missed that bit, but this little girl, like you said earlier, turned around and she had a missing garment missing.
Yes.
Come on. She ran up to her.
She said she ran up to her, hugged her, picked her up, and realized she was naked. Hiya, Blavi. Thanks for joining us. She was naked, she said, and so she'd asked her why and what happened. And then she found out that Woody had been while her and her friend were out, and the kids were in the house. The French tutor and the nanny were there. But he had been and took her, and she'd gone missing until they found her later on and realized that, because Mia was like, did this really happen? And then she put two and two together and realized he had her up in the attic and actually, you know, fully on molested her, allegedly.
And then what did she do allegedly? What was her next
You know
move?
what?
I'll get her on camera.
Yeah,
that's crap.
She tried to call the psychologist. I mean, a psychologist, you would have called the police.
911. 911. That's your first call.
So I don't get that. Why a psychologist? So she can just talk about it and be traumatized even more. Get this man interrogated and
what about
find out how far this has gone and how long he's been doing this.
Because I don't know about the States. But over here, the first thing you do is call the police, and then the child would be examined and questioned by a police that's sympathetic.
She called the
police because then she would have had to deal with child services, and then they would have taken the child away from her. That's why.
That's why, right? Yeah, that's terrible.
You're on mute, Leslie. This is a woman that adopted so many kids, remember? So it's like, you're right, Ablavi. Maybe it was a bit of that, because I don't understand how she even had conversations with him that she recorded. Because, by the way, she found out Woody would record their conversations. So her son told her, record him right back. So she started recording it, and you can hear him say things like, he doesn't really want that. She asks him things like, are you in love with me or Soon Yi? Why are you even talking to this man still? And asking him whether he wants you or her. And no, I won't do it again. And it was just a mistake.
The other thing, if I may interrupt, ladies, is the fact of she saw Soon Yi at one point as competition.
Yeah, maybe psychologically, maybe. Yeah. She saw her as competition.
She did. Because why would you ask, are you in love with me or Soon Yi? If you claim this child that you have adopted, you see her as your blood, you see her as your daughter, why would you say that?
That should be the very last thing you're worried about. You need to be worried about getting your child examined, getting him arrested, as well as the other children. I mean, you know, it's just you don't know that he wasn't doing it with the other kids, and it hasn't been
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, apparently Moses, which is the one of the sons that she's got, one of the adopted kids, he was devastated. I mean, he wrote him a letter, apparently to Woody, and was heartbroken. The fact that this man that he considered his father would do this to his sibling. So do you understand? Like, this man had not just messed up these girls, but on top of that, how did they go on and see relationships? Remember how kids identify relationships and healthy situations is how we show them, isn't it? So how did these adopted children grow up and take this experience and implemented it into their day-to-day life? Some of them probably aren't even over it now. You know, we have to really consider that. Trauma.
I don't understand how she was allowed to keep adopting children. Were they doing no background checks? Were they doing no home visits? Like,
well, no. She's still a celebrity, so her adopting is different than you. She has the celebrity power to go to the UN and say, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that." So no, it's not hard for her to adopt a child.
Yeah.
That's true. She should really go to jail.
I mean, it was a great thing that she wanted to adopt all these children, but you know, sometimes too much is too much, and you're not knowing what's going on in your own house.
Sometimes less is more, as they say.
3, right?
She had 3. Yeah, she had 3 biological before she met him. Then
no, 4.
She has 4, but she had 3 before she met him.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
twins.
To me that you would then, and I'm going to use this word, and a lot of people might take offense. She acquired 4 more children for him.
Yeah, she did.
Exactly.
That's disgusting. She should go to jail, allegedly.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, in my opinion too, she should.
Exactly.
There's no way that you didn't know what was going on. I'm sorry.
She knew. Of course she knew. She's coming out with this now. This is financial. I'm telling you, this is financial.
Well, she better have a little bit stashed away for the lawyers she's going to need, allegedly, in my opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion too. This is financial, because why is she coming out with this now? Why now?
Soon Yi and him don't really talk about this. They don't reply. I mean, I think he denies the allegations. That's all he puts out as a statement. But they don't really talk or say anything to defend himself. No. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, he did. He did, Mr. Beer. He did. You remember at the beginning of episode 2, he did a little quick press conference.
Oh, but that's early. That's early on when it actually happened. You mean? I mean now. Now.
Oh, right. Oh, I see.
He said something because the people who financially backed him stopped backing his project. So now he's upset because he has monetary gain to be lost.
Right. Well, that's how it should have been from day one. It's all, like I said, money yet again. You know,
and what is he spending his money on? The man looks like he hasn't changed his shirt in 15 years. Really?
Yeah, I know.
He's vintage, like, isn't he?
Exactly.
He seems like those millionaires that don't spend no money. You know what I mean? Just stay in the old ass stuff that they got. Yeah.
No,
and he's a multi-millionaire
in New York. He lives very well, and that's
of course.
That's why that girl don't want to say nothing. I don't understand how he was able to adopt children after what happened with Dylan. What is going on?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they adopted 2 girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, there's
it was just, I don't know. When Mia is sitting there speaking, in a way, I don't know. It's like, it's difficult. I want to judge her and say, you should have fucking, like, you should, sorry, I shouldn't. I apologize, people. You should have known. You should have known. That's how I feel. Like, she should have known what was going on. But at the same time, when she speaks, she sounds so weak. Like, she doesn't sound like a strong woman. Do you understand what I mean? She never really took charge.
She's pretending to be a victim. She's pretending to be a victim.
She's more dangerous than he is, in my opinion.
She's a liar, in my opinion.
Leslie. Exactly, Leslie.
I think she's more dangerous than he is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because she is, you know, she's proper, she's kind, she plays Mother Teresa, and yet you're feeding them to the lions. This is what you're doing.
You're handing them over. I agree.
Yeah. And maybe she got some sick power rush from doing that. Oh, all of a sudden you conveniently left on the day where he took her upstairs to the attic? You and everybody else.
I think, though, when we look at, like, because I love to watch the, you know, SVU and the children and the crimes.
Yes.
And what they normally do is they go after somebody desperate in some way. And they recognize in the mother, she wants better for her children. And so they exploit that. And even though it's not right, we do know we live in a culture that people would do anything for money.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the truth. 100%. You're right. You're right, Ablavi. You're right.
Yeah, because I could smell you coming from bloody a mile off. I get it. They definitely look for those type of women, probably, that they can easily manipulate. Imagine, you know, there's women that will say, oh, I met a fantastic guy. He's lovely. He's been taking me out. He's been buying me stuff. You know, he's got his own place. He's got it all together. Sweeping them off their feet. Yeah, sweeping them off their feet. And then years later, you find out that every time you know, this is another thing. I'm not leaving you with my child. This is another one. Why am I going to work and leaving you with my child when don't even know you? I don't even know you that long. We've just been sleeping together. But for some reason, people seem to always do that.
Yeah,
women, you know what I mean? Weak women, they always do that. Who's with the child? Oh, my boyfriend. Who is this man? Do you even know this guy? But then later on, you find out that years later, oh, he was groomed by that person in the family, or this person that you brought round, and that person groomed somebody else. Do you know, it's just a rotating thing. That's another thing that people don't realize. A lot of kids that get abused perform things on other children. People don't understand that there's a lot of child-on-child abuse as well. It's not just the adults. We need to be aware of that as well, to be fair.
Yeah, you don't have to, and honestly, like, I don't have kids, so I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids. What I will ask and plead with everybody, please stop leaving your children with other people.
Yeah,
please don't.
100%. Yeah, I'm not saying every man is a predator.
No,
but I'm sure.
Or every woman, or every woman.
They are.
Just
or
men,
every
not
woman.
Just men.
Yeah, men or woman. You know, to me, it would be a man relationship-wise, right? But I'm assuming, right, that 100%. I don't even know. I always say to my friends, moving on, me personally, if I ever did get married, and no offense to whoever my future husband will be, if I ever have one, let me just put that out there. But I don't think I could ever leave her. You know what I mean? If she was this age now and she's 9, I think I would always have that I would always be side-eyeing him. I would always make sure him and her are not in the same place at night on their own. I would always, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things I would always make sure I put in place, regardless of, this could be my husband. I love you to death, you know, but that's just how I feel about things, because there's too many things going on in the world. You know what I mean? For you to ever allow that for a split second, allow yourself to slip up and let your child be a victim. Do you understand what I mean? Because the impact on your child is so much more.
Hey, you'd rather say I'm sorry to the man you're with than to look at your child and say, oh my gosh, look what I brought into your life. And look at
100%.
You know,
sorry, anybody that gets offended because I don't want to leave my most precious possession. If you want to,
yeah.
Then you can always get offended. You'll have another feeling.
But Leslie, you know something. The thing is, sorry, ladies. The thing is, even if I never had birthed a child, common sense states you do not just drop a child of a man you've met 2 seconds. It doesn't matter if you've known him for 6 months, 9 months. Your child is your gift from God. Your child is your gift from God, and you should protect it like you would protect your own life. You wouldn't walk in front of a moving truck. So why are you doing that to your child?
Hey,
you see, look, I agree. Damsel in a dress. Do you see the comment? This is the type of stuff that's out here. Women inviting men over they met on Tinder or any. Sorry, I don't mean to shout out, on any dating platform, and you're over their house while the child's sleeping upstairs.
Seen it. Like, I've seen it all before.
I don't get it. Do you not? You know what? The only thing I can think of is this, and sometimes I let my head run with me, but imagine something kicked off with you and that man, and he gets angry with you and knocks you out. Now your child is upstairs and you can't do nothing. What's gonna happen?
I'll put it the other way. Miss Nibia, I'll put it the other way. What happens when you go to sleep?
Well, even that, you know.
Okay.
I'm assuming these women will invite him over to stay for a bit and go.
They all do it.
You know what I mean?
They all do it. They all do it. They all invite them over.
Unbelievable.
But
I'm in the dating world. I'm in that world, and the first thing they want to do is come to your house. And I tell you, they will never ever find out where I live. Not in a million years.
No.
But you know what? Ladies need to realize you can always get a different man, but you can't replace what's done to your child psychologically. No. That can never, you can't come back from that.
Can you imagine? I cannot, honestly.
I can't even. I mean, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I can't even imagine.
No,
but that's right. It's like women are so consumed right now with finding a mate that they're not even thinking about what it is.
Do you know what? I would say desperate. They are desperate.
Exactly.
They think, and the thing is, when you are dating means sleeping together. They're not interested in your hobbies.
No.
They're interested in sleeping with you. That's the new world we live in.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case,
there is going to be that one guy that's going to call you back or be beside you. Yeah, good luck to you if you get married from it. But the reality is, women as well, we're only interested in the fun part of it. We're not interested in you coming round for dinner.
Then go to a hotel and do that. Don't bring it around your children then.
They all do it. Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it with my family member, and they do not listen. Miss Nibia, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
The minute you mention anything, there's the biggest fallout.
Of course. Yeah. I've lost friendships. I've had to leave people behind because I don't want to see the fact that you're just out here, man after man after man, and you got children, same child that's same age as my child. I can't sit there and not say anything. Then I become the judgmental friend. Then all of a sudden you don't like me because I'm telling you that what you're doing is not right. But, to each their own. As long as it's not my child, what can I say? As long as it's not my child, it's your responsibility. So
that's so sad.
Or I would have then they would get offended if you didn't want to leave your child at their house when you know the fact that they have doing it in and out of their house.
Leslie, I've had that.
If there's a revolving door at their house with men, no way. There's
no way.
Not
but you know what?
Morals.
Ladies, even if there's not a revolving door, the thing is, I've had I can't mention it because I don't know if she'd ever see it. But I've had somebody I know, she did the same thing. Met someone online, sex with him the same night in her house. Next minute, they fell out, had a big fallout, fell back in. He's babysitting my other relative. And there's no comeback. You mention anything, there's a problem. So,
and then you don't want to see anything because then they'll get back together, and then you're the bad one when they get back.
They always do.
Exactly.
You regurgitate what they've told you about this person to try to validate their decision, and then all of a sudden you made this up. No, I'm just telling you what you've told me. I have no other way of knowing what happened.
It's just
they always do it. Always do it. But when it coming back to the topic, Mia is doing this purely for financial gain. Purely for financial gain.
I think
safety of those children
could have been trying to get in front of the Ghislaine gang, in front of the Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be held accountable.
I think she's just trying to get in front of it. I think that she knows that something's going to go down because homegirl is still alive and she's ready to talk. And what she has to say,
I agree.
Bring down everyone.
Gonna bring down everyone.
I believe that there's a whole
groomed
of them. I believe that, the same way that like I had friends that were screenwriters and stuff. It's so hard to get your screenplay read. But these people, they don't even have to like do anything.
He's sailing through. He is, because it's Woody Allen. It's his name allows him to sail through.
The same thing with a guy named Jeff. Everybody gave him his name because he's that guy named Jeff.
Yeah, and I can imagine Woody Allen was probably joining Epstein with his, little parties, slimy parties, allegedly. I can imagine they were friends,
right?
They've all got money. They all can get away with the fact of the man had a whole island. I mean, I might even do a little thing about Jeffrey, or what's his name, Roman Polanski. That's another film director that got away with a lot of abuse. Somebody just suggested that. I might even do a little thing about.
There were only men at these parties. There weren't.
Yeah.
There were a lot of complicit partners.
Always. Always.
As women, like, come on now. If I don't think anybody here would ever do something like that, but like, there's a lot of women who are so twisted, and because they want a lifestyle, they'll do whatever that person wants because they're so scared of losing them.
Yeah. And Prince Andrew. You're right, Dan Sol in a dress. Thank you. Let's not forget Prince Andrew. Yeah, that it's just disgusting that
swept
these
under
things are happening, and then what's worse is they're making programs about it. So that clearly says they all knew about it. Why is nobody, actually doing something? I mean, I don't even want to jinx it. There could be a investigation going on right now. You know how the FBI is always, kind of like doing things in the background. You don't really know, don't you, until they strike.
That's why I'm interested to see what Oprah is going to talk about with the royals that are in America.
Exactly.
Because I think the crown's about to crack.
Yeah. It's just too much.
This documentary is not out of the blue. This documentary is leading to a prosecution.
Yeah, I hope so.
This documentary is being analysed by a district attorney. Believe you me, this is coming.
Yeah,
this is coming. Remember, they did it with all the rest of them. Mia is just jumping in quickly because she's going to be questioned as a carer, as a parent, and as an adult.
Did you see the movie? I didn't know anything. I had no idea. Those poor children. I just wanted to help.
But actually, let me just point out, this woman was gaining from this as well, because she was always in his movies. All these movies that he did, she was the main actress. Let's not forget that. Mia Farrow was in all his movies, and he used to tell her, right, just like an abuser would, you can't get into any other movies because of your age. And a woman of that age in Hollywood wouldn't get that many roles, but he would put her in all of his movies and always remind her that without me, you would have never been in these movies. So he was always on that, that control level where just make sure you understand I'm running the play here, not you. But then he would, the only time he would praise her is in an interview for the public. Do you get it? But in private, he would always put her down and degrade her and make her understand that it's him that's the star here, not her. And he's bringing her along for the ride. basically.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she does have some sort of twisted Stockholm syndrome from this egomaniac. Maybe she, allegedly, in my opinion, I think that she's just as complicit as everybody else that was involved in this whole thing. Because I don't think it's just a Woody Allen, Mia Farrow thing. I think that this goes way deeper than anybody realizes. Way deeper.
Yeah.
Way further back. Like,
it's just sad that these kids were, 7 of them, that's 7 lives ruined in a way, not the ones that he's done it physically to the most, but then mentally for the others, emotionally, how they develop, how they see relationships.
Exactly.
Do they trust people anymore? As they grew up, is this why they maybe made wrong decisions as they were teenagers growing up, ending in wrong relationships?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Do we know?
Absolutely.
I actually, somebody recommended to me to watch a documentary, I think that's about Moses. I think it's called A Son Speaks. They commented on one of my videos, the one that I did last week about this documentary. So I might actually look for that and do a bit of that next week, add that to it, because it would be interesting to see what Moses, how he grew up and felt about him, because it seems like Moses, it really messed him up.
Well, is going after Mia Farrow, saying that she's a liar, she's manipulative.
Right, yes.
So, who knows?
I read that somewhere, that she was a horrible mother, apparently, he said. Yeah, I read
Moses
that.
Is a little biological, right?
No,
yeah, that's not Moses. Moses is adopted, I think.
Yeah.
What did Moses say? Ablavi, what did Moses say? Sorry, Leslie.
He said that she was abusive. She was a horrible mother. If you look at him he has a YouTube channel. He's basically saying that it is her who's the abusive one in this whole Woody Allen thing. So it's really interesting to see.
The only abuse, Mia.
Sorry, Ablavi. 1 second, Miss Nabia. I just want to see what Ablavi was saying. Sorry.
It's very interesting to see one child that is firmly standing by essentially the father, and then the others by the mother. I think that they are tag team with their abuse.
Right.
And they're not telling the full story. And Mia wants to get ahead of it with this documentary in case it doesn't look so good in the end.
Okay, I can see that.
Thank you.
I mean, there's
that.
only one part where she says she actually hit Soon Yi, and this is after it all came out that Woody Allen, that she was with him, and she called Soon Yi in the other room on the phone, and as soon as she walked in, she must have put the phone down, and Mia knew it was Woody on the other line, on the other side. So when she walked up to her, she must have slapped her and got angry with her. And that's the only abuse she admits in the documentary, and says that she slapped her. It was a reaction. She apologized to her. They both cried. And then, it kind of moves on from that and carries on with the story. But it is just, I would love to see the Moses thing and see what he has to say.
Also, no, I feel like when you admit to a certain kind of abuse, you slapped her, which means you hit her face, which means that there was a mark, which meant that there was going to be questions. So of course you get ahead of that. How many other times that just doesn't happen? If your initial reaction to dealing with a child that you are upset with, your child upsets you.
Yeah.
Honestly, you ladies that are mothers, your child upsets you. Is your automatic reaction going to be to slap them?
No.
Because Leslie, I'm telling you now, if you really look at this documentary, she started to get jealous of the attention that Woody was paying to the other kids. She wasn't getting anything back.
Yeah.
She was.
Because for her to ask
I've had that. I had that with a family member. Exactly. I had, again, with history and our, with life, I've seen this before. I've seen family members who have been, had things said or whatever, and the parent reacts bad.
Yeah.
Jealousy, utter jealousy. I'm telling you, she's getting in there first because she doesn't want to end up, in my opinion, like Ghislaine, behind bars.
But just think, like you all have been saying, this is just the abuses we know about. What about the abuses that we don't know about just yet, that have been yet to be uncovered?
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. What I wanted to say is, when I don't know if you've ever watched some of these celebrities and like from the 50s and 60s and how their kids are writing books, and it's horrible. I mean, they be talking about their parents were on drugs and high out of their mind, and they were doing drugs with their parents. I mean, look at Drew Barrymore. What was he, 8?
Yeah. Prime example, yes.
They have a culture of abusing their children, and they see nothing wrong with it.
Yes, it is.
Unfortunately, yeah. I don't know. It just seems to be, back in the day, it was so obvious, but nobody ever said anything. So it's just, you know, the norm, as I said, like he was making it the norm for an older man to be with a younger girl.
Everybody wants to get paid. Everybody doesn't want to lose out on the gravy train. Now the money is drying up. The money's now drying up, and now it's like, let's talk about the abuse. Let's talk about the abuse. She needs to go to jail. That's all she needs to do.
You know, I would love to get a take, now that you brought up Drew Barrymore, what her reaction to this documentary is. Because she's privy to a whole, you know, like as a child, but also as being a successful actor, she's privy to a lot of things. And I'd be really interested to see what her take on all of this.
Whose opinion, Leslie?
Exactly. Drew Barrymore.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, because I'm sure she was in a lot of these parties when she was underage, and she saw a lot.
Yeah,
she
was.
And she was approached with a lot of different things, like, you know.
The thing is, these carers, these people who are in charge of looking after these children, doesn't matter if you birthed a child or not, or if you was an aunt, an uncle, or whatever. You have a duty of care towards a child. You could be a teacher, you could be somebody who lets a child cross the road. That is your job, to protect that child. Now she's suddenly coming out with, I didn't know, and I went back to him and I slapped her. She is guilty. She's guilty. And she is doing damage control as fast as she can.
And she's just digging a bigger hole. I'm glad that she tried to do damage control. So that everybody could actually be more aware of the depth of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder what's going to be in the... Go on, laughing Leo lady. I don't even know how to...
Jamie.
I'm just going to say laughing. Go on, laughing.
My name is Jamie. Jamie is my given name.
Okay, hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying, the tragedy that's happened, maybe it can be used for future people that want to adopt. Maybe they have to go through some kind of screening process, who's going to be around the children, and they have to be investigated. It's just, we all know, we've heard in the news, people that have slipped through the past, it's just...
Go, you guys. I have company coming. I'll talk to you later. I love you. Bye.
Bye-bye. But it's just something good has to come out of, something, out of this bad situation. Maybe something good can come out of it.
I hope so. I mean, awareness alone would be great. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But what do you guys think will be in next week's episode? Like, do you think it's going to be more of what he did?
More detail.
Sneaking about with Soon Yi?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be
detail
about Dylan and what he did to her? What do you reckon?
More in-depth details going to come out. Little bits of trickling it down the line. I don't know how many episodes they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But they're going to be spoon feeding us little bits. And she's going to be still playing the Virgin Mary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this poor child, if there is abuse that's gone on, and believe you me, this does take 30, 40 years to come to the surface, because why would you want to drag that up?
Yeah. You're right.
Why would you want to drag that up? Because it's so painful. It's so painful. It's humiliating. It's painful because, some children believe, in my opinion, nobody's going to believe you.
I thought you had to go somewhere.
I lied. I thought it was my friend, but it wasn't. It was my wine delivery.
Funny.
Priorities.
I was saying what
before they got here.
That's
good.
Fine.
That's a good.
Go on, Diali. Is that your last? Should we do the last thought? Make that part of your last thought. Go on.
Yeah, my last thought with this is I pray that somewhere out there, there's a district attorney that can bring prosecutions to everybody if they can, who is involved, because I do believe he's not squeaky clean, because he did groom this young girl. He did, in my opinion, he groomed her.
Yeah,
he groomed
100%.
her, he married her. He groomed her, he married her.
Yeah.
And the other, whoever's involved, it's not just, remember, he may not have just been abusing the other girl that's speaking up now, Dylan.
Yeah.
There's other victims. Usually with those people, there's always other victims. And I believe this, the mother and the parents and whoever's involved, they need to be held accountable. And I pray for the abused children, but I pray the district attorney is watching carefully. That's my final words.
Hello.
Okay. Go
final
on,
words.
Or anything, if you want to keep it going a little bit, go for it.
No. Final words is, I just hope that something comes to this. I hope it's not like, 10 more years and he's able to die without punishment.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, Leslie?
I just want everybody to take a good hard look at everybody that's adopting these children from foreign countries.
Yeah.
I feel like they feel like they can get away with a lot of stuff, like there's a few celebrities who've adopted a bunch of kids from different countries, and I'd like to know what their reasoning behind that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they are able to have children because they go ahead and they have their own children later.
Yeah.
So why do you need the United Nations in your household? Why do you need 10 children? What are you doing?
I mean, I think, well, like I said, when she decided to do it, Vietnam was going through a war, or had just been through, whatever she said, there was something going on in Vietnam where a lot of kids were orphaned. So she got them from an orphanage, the kids.
Yeah, I understand that's what she said, but I don't think that's the whole of the story, in my opinion.
Okay.
Don't come for me, Mia Farrow. That's it.
Go on, Jamie.
Oh,
what did you think?
I just hopefully something will come out of this, and I agree with you all. Something must be done, especially for people that are adopting these children. And like Leslie said, for what are their main purpose for adopting these children? And I appreciate you bringing me on today. It was really good to talk to you all, and I
appreciate your support. Thank you for calling in. Most
You're
people
welcome.
like to type and are a bit shy, though. I would encourage anybody to call in. I don't bite,
No, I had a great time.
Yeah,
I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Take care,
I really
Jamie.
appreciate the support.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
But I mean, oh yeah, I agree. Actually, she's right. Damsel in distress. Before we go, you're right. I actually watched a documentary about the fact that they actually fooled a lot of parents and told them, we will take your kids and give them an education and they'll come back. But a lot of these kids would be taken from these poorer countries and never to be seen again. They would just be living in America. And then years later, they would find out that slowly, I think there was a few American parents that actually came forward with their story and that found out that these kids actually had a story and could remember their parents. But the story they were told by these dodgy agencies was that these kids were orphans. They had no family members. But then when they looked into it and went back to these places, they would find out that they've got living aunties and uncles. They've had living parents who thought their child would be going to America, Europe to get better education and come back. But then they would find out that was not the story. So yeah, thank you, damsel. I was going to say damsel in distress, but it's not. It's damsel in a dress. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a lot of missionary people, man.
Yeah, I've seen that actually. That happened quite a lot back in the day. They would fake the paperwork and bring the kids over to, unknowing American couples who actually thought this was their child to adopt and raise, but really the child was only there, on borrow, really on loan, because the biological parents thought they would be coming back. But I do appreciate everybody for joining. I mean, we've gone a little bit over an hour. I really appreciate the chat. It's been really interesting. Thank you guys for joining me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for engaging with us and, you know, for all your good points and input. I do appreciate it. Next week, hopefully I'll do episode number 3, because number 3 will be out tomorrow for you guys. So make sure you catch episode number 3 for Alan and versus Farrow. I'll probably be doing a bit of first 48 in a couple of days. But yeah, thank you for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. Ablavi's got a channel. You all know Ablavi M. So yeah, thumbs up and support her channel as well. Thank you, D. Ali, Ablavi, Leslie, everyone who joined me yet again. Thank you so much. And 1, 2, 3. Let's do our usual goodbye, ladies. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.